Hi, welcome to my channel. Today I am going to finish my series on how to create a text adventure game using Python. But this is not the end of this tutorial series. In my next tutorial, I will take the code I've written here and put it to work in a simple role-playing game with a graphical interface, rather than a text-based one. When I began my text-based role-playing game, I wasn't sure how I would integrate a graphical interface with the logic of the game. But I've been trying out different data structures, different ways of creating menus, and so on, and I am ready to share what I've learned. Managing a graphical user interface and integrating it with code is going to add another level of complexity, but I feel it's better to do it sooner rather than later. In any case, that's the plan. In this video, I walk through the overall structure of my text-based role-playing game. As always, all this code is available for download on my GitHub. I'll leave that link for you down in the description. If you have any questions about any of this, please ask. The beginning, main.py. I begin all my programs in main.py. As you can see, this is the main function that sets up our game. At the moment, we have three options: create a new game, load a new game, and quit. Now, I haven't implemented load game yet, so effectively, the user has the choice to either create a new game or to quit. In a previous video, we've seen how this code works. As the name suggests, we just prompt the user to enter the name and class of the character they wish to create, validate the information, and store the relevant information in the variables charName, charKind. Then, we save this information to a file. In doing so, the information is effectively made global because I will be able to access it throughout the program. While it's true that the number of global variables should be kept as low as possible, preferably 0. In this case, since the character's name and class are used to access the character's directory throughout the program, it's an efficient solution. The only thing left to do before we create the game is to create a directory for the newly created character and copy over all the files we will need. Okay, so far so good. Now let's look at the game loop. You can see the code on the screen there. I've discussed this previously, so I'm going to move quite quickly. First, we create a path to the file that contains what I'm calling the trailer. This is the text that is displayed to the player and introduces them and their character to the game world. This text should introduce a problem for the hero and give them a suggestion about what they might do to solve it. Now, as you can see from the code on the screen, we're at the while loop. Play game is an instance-wide Boolean variable since it's available anywhere in the game class. When this while loop is exited, this particular game ends and the player is asked if they want to create another new game or quit the program. The main game loop. As you can see, at the start of each loop we display a description of the current tile. Then, using self-valid command, we prompt the user to tell us what they want to do. Most of the time this will be simply to walk east, south, west, or north. It's important to note that the way I've set this up, only 2 words can be entered by the user. At the moment, the first word specifies a kind of action, for instance, walk, talk, and so on, and the second one fine-tunes that command. For instance, talk provisioner, enter provisioner, walk south. Some commands, though, like quit, don't require fine-tuning. Moving between zones. Moving between zones is simple, is taken care of with the function enterZone. One of the next changes I'm going to make to the game will be saving the current state of both the player and the zone, but this isn't necessary right now because we don't change anything except the position of the player's character. Talking to an NPC merchant. Let's look at how we can talk to an NPC merchant. In future versions of the program, I will have more kinds of NPCs, but for now all we have in our severely underpopulated town is a single provisioner. The next NPC I want to add is a server over at the pub, so I can begin implementing the game plot. In any case, to interact with the provisioner, we go to the NPC's main loop, and you can see that up there on the screen. In what follows, it is easiest if you download the files from GitHub and follow along looking at the code. If you're using PyCharm, then Command plus B will take you where the selected code is defined. I found that so helpful. In any case, let's look at main loop helper in my class's PY. You can see the code up there on your screen now. I'm just going to concentrate on items right now, the item menu rather than the quest menu, because they act in much the same way. And you've got the code there, you can look through it. Again, if anyone has any questions about the code, leave a comment and I will get back to you. We're still in myclasses.py, as you can see on the screen there. We're in show item menu helper. The first part of the code contains a function to validate user input. The next part formats and displays the menus. Again, all the functions follow the same sort of logic, so I'm just going over how to buy an item. The first part of the function is taken up with printing out the menu, and then we check the input. As you can see, the rest of the function is straightforward. As soon as we validate the input, we grab hold of the item we want to buy and put it in chosen item. Then we make sure that the character has enough gold to purchase the item. If it doesn't, we exit the function without buying anything. If the character does have enough money, we then add the item to the character's inventory. Note that we don't remove it from the provisioner's inventory, although this is something you might want to implement in a later version. Finally, we deduct the cost of the item from the player's supply of gold, announce the purchase of the item to the player, and then return true. I'll let you trace through selling an item as well as adding and removing quests. Again, if you would like me to talk about any of this code, please leave a comment and I'll get back to you. Well, that's it. In my next tutorial, I will walk through creating a simple grid-based RPG with a graphical interface. I already have that code written, so I should have it up within the next few days. If you've gotten something from this video, please like and subscribe. In any case, see you in the next video and good coding.